helped me be both a survivor and a dreamer, and I can pass those things on to other people. My job as a social worker is to help people survive and also to give them inspiration and help them to dream. So I am dedicating this webinar to my parents because they helped me be both a survivor and a dreamer, and I can pass those things on to other people. The streaming, but it worked. It worked. It worked. It worked. And I'm here. Hey there, it's Julie, the Social Work Expat, and I am excited to be here for Brunchy. I love Sunday brunch and running my mouth, obviously. So I thought I would combine those two. There's a lot of lights on me and like no screen share just now, which I am uncomfortable with, but here we are. I am so glad to have you join me for brunch today, and I'm going to run my mouth. That's what I like to do a little bit, and my goal today is to run my mouth about life and AI and anything that you all want to talk about. If you have questions or want to just chat, I am here, and that is what brunch is for, even though my stalwart brunch buddy reminded me the other day that I said the real purpose for brunch is day drinking and making it acceptable. I don't drink at brunch. I like the food because I love food and I love the conversation. So I thought I would have a little bit of fun, have some conversation, and not food because I'm not eating on camera for free. I'm also not eating on camera, but I'm not doing it for free, that's for certain. There are channels for that, and you can partake as you will. I'm 10 minutes late because I thought I would try to use a new platform as opposed to using OBS for streaming. That did not work. It was definitely not a success. So we are here, and I am going to start talking about my week. If you have questions, please feel free to ask. I am happy to have chat. That is what brunch is about. And if you do partake and like to have bottomless mimosas during your brunch time, please feel free. Because as long as you're not driving or caring for others and need to be alert, it's Sunday. Do what you would like. And what I would like is to spend a little time and talk a little bit. For the folks who don't know who I am, my name's Julie, and I am the Social Work Expat. I am the only professional social worker who is certified by the Berkeley Law School's AI Institute. I taught myself prompt engineering and have fallen all the way down this AI rabbit hole. And I would like to bring you along with me. AI has changed my outlook on life, has changed my life, and I feel like it is going to change other people's lives as well. And I would like to help with that if I can. All right, I'm going to talk about University of South Carolina's Carolina Connect AI conference that I went to on Friday. I took the day off from work on Friday and I went to an AI conference, a local one. This will be my third AI conference in September, October, November, December, in 4 months. This is the third live AI conference that I've been to in 4 months, and I almost didn't go. I was in the car. I was looking for parking, and I was trying to talk myself out of going. But I'm glad that I went, and they had some informative parts. I was really surprised at how much I already know. I think it's because of attending Voice and AI and also because of the Berkeley AI Institute. But I did get a couple of leads on how I might be helpful in the community. And I got confirmation that I know more about this than I've been giving myself credit for. Um, really surprised. I think that I would have been a perpetual student if not for family responsibilities. And I am very thankful that I did not veer all the way over into being an egghead like I could have. Since it's brunch, I'm going to hold up my little vial of beads, this necklace right here, and this bracelet. I got these from the Big E years and years ago, and I am fascinated by it. Goes with a lot of things, not the colors, but just the style goes with a lot of things, and I decided I would like to have more of them. Obviously, I'm not going off to the Big E because that's all the way in Massachusetts and I am all the way in South Carolina. Plus, the Big E is in the fall, and if I can help it, I don't go anywhere where it's cold after Labor Day. But I did figure out, I think, a way to make this myself, and I'm going to string some beads and run my mouth. If people have questions or want to chat, please feel free. Uh, I am talking about the AI conference and the fact that I almost talked myself out of going, even though I had already paid the money. Friday was the Nutcracker here in Columbia. And anybody who has ever gone to see the Nutcracker or who has children and has taken them to see the Nutcracker knows that they have special presentations for children. Well, the Darla Moore School of Business is right across the street from the Koger Center, which is where the Nutcracker was being performed. And it was all blocked off. I didn't know that. So I'm just riding around looking for parking or trying to get to the public parking. It took me so long to get all the way around to get to the public parking. And while I was doing that, I'm like, you might as well just ask for a refund and go home. There's no reason, you're already late. And I'm just like, you know what? I paid to go. I took the day off from work. And if I have to walk in there late, it's better than not walking in there at all. And so I did. I walked in late. All 5'11" plus 3-inch block heels of me walked on in late, but I'm glad that I went and I'm glad I didn't talk myself out of it, which I have the tendency to do. Super glad I didn't. So what was I doing? I was counting the beads, and I will show my little work in progress while I'm yapping. So this is coated copper wire, and I kind of doubled the amount that I thought would need to go around my neck, and I've just been stringing them. This one has 13 strands, and I have emulated the 13 strands. I will also show something that's not quite finished because I need to put a closure on it. I probably should not look up that way in the camera again. This is for a bracelet, and I think I did, for not having instructions, I think I did a pretty good job emulating this one, which is the one that I bought many years ago. I just need a closure. This one has a bead, a wooden bead as a closure, and we'll see what I can do to get that closure. But there we go. I like crafts, and I decided that I was going to enjoy myself. I have been a very serious person for a pretty long time, and I've decided that I want to enjoy myself. Brunch is one way that I enjoy myself, and another way is crafts, which I'm doing right now while we talk. What did I find so interesting about the AI conference that the Darla Moore School of Business held on Friday? It was really good for me to see a room with such a diverse group of people. It wasn't just academics, it wasn't just policymakers, it wasn't just industry people. All of the other conferences that I have been to have been either academics, policymakers, or industry people, including salespeople. This one had community members, and I enjoyed the different parts of introductory applied AI and AI tools discussion that was being had. That doesn't happen very often, as far as I can tell, but I think it's going to start happening much, much more often as the AI chatbots and generative AI become more readily used and more pervasive within society. I say more pervasive because we have all been using and engaging with AI for years. We might not have known it, but we have been. And this past year, since OpenAI brought ChatGPT to the forefront, this has been the first time that the general public is able to use AI in ways that industry has been using it for a very long time. I'm going to try something. I have my phone right here. I tried to go live just a little bit ago and that didn't work too well, but let's see if I can do it again. Okay, I'm going to try it again. No, you don't like that? Phone doesn't like that too much. No. Fiddle, fiddle, fiddle. All these little machine fiddly things. Anyway, I am really pleased that there is more interaction with the community than has been in the past regarding AI and its uses that we are able to have. I also feel like it's probably going to be way more important as we go down the line that we all learn the different ways that AI is being used within society, and that we are able to recognize when AI is being used. I'm gonna see if it'll work on this phone. All right, I am back at a different angle. Let's see if this works. So, I also saw that there are some new products. There was a gentleman who used to work at Oracle at the AI conference at Darla Moore School of Business, and he was giving a little overview of his product called Query. A lot of this stuff started with me because I did the Google Data Analytics certificate, and this, I think, is going to either enhance or completely blow out of the water some of the data analytics pieces that I learned during that certificate. While I am on this AI trained subject, if anybody has any questions about AI that they would like me to answer, I am happy to do so. Really look forward to it. And because this is brunch, I'm going to flip to a different subject. And I'm giving fair warning because if my daughter's watching, she doesn't like it when I change subjects without giving warning. I am going to talk about the fragrances that I have on today. So, I got a sample of Mocha Wood by Fragrance World. I got this sample from Hig Scents on Etsy, and it is a Middle Eastern fragrance. I actually wasn't going to try it. I got the samples from Hig Scents specifically for their guidance dupe, Milestone by Mouge Gardens, which I'll wear another day. I wore it yesterday. I've worn it quite a bit and it's really nice. But since I have it, I'm gonna try it. This one, now that I've had it on for a little while, I actually really like it. And I layered it with, this is from, I think it's Fragrance Outlet. They're at the Tangier outlets. I got this one from the outlet in, I got this one from the outlet in Charleston. And this is Mi Vida por Femme. This smells quite a bit like Good Girl, but with more chocolate. And the Mocha Wood, Fragrance World Mocha Wood sample that I have, now that I have it on, I really like it. I felt like it was a little bit too strong when I first smelled it, but I didn't put it on skin. It's really nice and definitely really nice layered. So I'm glad that I put that on today. Back to running my mouth. So, all done with Friday's AI conference at USC. I would recommend it. The price was right. It was local. And for beginner information and for information on how you can use AI tools to get business information, it was very helpful. One of the things that I noticed was that some of the people who were presenting couldn't answer questions about privacy and whether your information, the information that you are putting into some of these AI tools, would be used by OpenAI or by the main large language model to train the model. This is a slightly more advanced subject, but it is important because just like my video on here about the first rule of AI, do not put any of your personal, proprietary, trade secret information into ChatGPT. There is a chatbot that is closed, and you can put your personal information in and get, feedback on it without worrying that you're training the model and that everyone who works with the great all of artificial intelligence is going to have your information, which is really important if you are a service provider or you're thinking about writing a book or you are thinking about wanting to copyright or have ownership over your ideas later on. You don't want to expose them to an AI chatbot that will then share your information with other people. I am going to tell a story now. I was going to flip my work and put it into talking about AI chatbots, but I'm going to tell a story and then I'm going to do a little bit of stuff that I do during my lunchtime, which is working on AI chatbots and like getting questions answered. So doing some prompt engineering. Once I start the prompt engineering for anybody who is over here on Instagram, I will shut down this live and I will just concentrate on the YouTube live. So, for my story, I have a question for you. As a social worker, I have done a lot of crisis intervention, coming alongside support, investigative work, resource gathering, and lots of transporting people. One of my questions that I've been thinking about recently is who is benefiting from the story that you're telling yourself? And I feel like that is something that is part of life coaching and also just part of talking during brunch. Who is benefiting from the story that you're telling yourself? That could be any kind of story. That could be a story about your intelligence. It could be a story about your abilities. It could be a story about how much money you can make with the skills that you already have. It could be a story about how your life is going to go based on what someone else has told you or what you've seen on social media, television, what you've read, what someone else who looks like you or lives where you live has experienced, and you've internalized that. So, who is benefiting from the story that you're telling yourself? I'm going to talk about Black folks and watermelon. So, if you're like me and grew up in the United States or not, this could be international. And if it's international, can someone please tell me? But it is a stereotype, a butt of a joke stereotype about Black folks and watermelon, and that, we're dumb and that we are hicks and that we're just lazy and that we just sit around eating watermelon all day. I don't know anybody who does that, but just like I don't eat bananas in public, There are Black folks, and I was one of them, who don't eat watermelon because of the stereotypes. Who is benefiting from the story you are telling yourself? Watermelon, after emancipation in the United States, was the way that formerly enslaved people were able to sustain themselves and make money. It worked so well that white folks who really wanted all of my ancestors, I'm a sharecropper's daughter, all of my ancestors, to either go back to Africa, which I used to hear on a regular basis living in Connecticut and growing up there, or just die. We didn't do either of those things. As a matter of fact, our ancestors were so resourceful. No education, no guidance, no help from the government, no help from the people who were former slavers, no help from the overseers of those plantations. But what they knew, they used. And they knew farming, and they used it. And they used it to bring themselves up from poverty. So much so that a propaganda campaign had to be launched to get us to feel shameful about watermelon and our lips and what it is that we do or need to do or are able to do to survive. How many other stories are like that? How many stories do you not even know are like that, but they're like that? Who is benefiting from the stories that you are telling yourself? All right, I will stop with that, and we're going to go back to AI. I'm going to say bye-bye to Instagram because I'm going to concentrate on YouTube. It is at Social Work Expat on YouTube. I'm live right now, and I'm going to start sharing my screen and talk a little bit about AI chatbots. Bye. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen, and it's going to be like lunchtime. Okay, OBS, let's see if you're going to do what I would like. While I have this up, I am offering a Sunday brunch special. Anybody who is watching this video and would like to get business coaching, life coaching, a little bit of come alongside or encouragement, please feel free to use the QR code down in the right corner or the Fiverr link that is showing on the screen to hit me up for over 30% off my regular rates for life coaching. I look forward to working with you, and I am going to open ChatGPT. It is chat.openai.com. Using this link should bring up the free version of ChatGPT. Yep. So this is the free version of ChatGPT. And I haven't used the free version in a while. Let's see what this says. And now that I am back in the regular swing. I'm going to put myself back in the lower right corner like I am usually in, and let's get it going. It says here that OpenAI has updated their terms of use and privacy policy. And you can click on all of that right there. I did notice that I think I used ChatGPT for the first time in a couple of months, late last week, and it's changed. And I will talk about that later on in this stream for anybody who is watching and doesn't really care too much. You're here for the chat and you're not here for the AI. I'll talk about what I think is happening, but this is the free version of ChatGPT. If you are new to AI or generative AI or any of this, ChatGPT is the one that kind of started it all for public consumption. And this version, it says, is 3.5. And we can ask in plain language different questions that then get answered by this computer program. It is like using Google or Firefox or any other search engine on steroids. You can just type your question in regular language and get an answer. So, what to ask about today? Okay. I think I'm going to stay on the who is benefiting from the story you're telling yourself theme, and I am going to talk about student debt. So please tell me about student loan debt. What is the average student, if I spell it right, student loan debt carried in individuals carry, okay, in the United States? Okay, so let's see what the free version of ChatGPT has to tell us about student loan debt in the United States. It's kind of long. So prompt engineering is typing in specific questions and having the answer come out of the chatbot. That's what just happened. And let's see what ChatGPT has to say. It says here, as of my last knowledge update in January 2022, the average student loan debt in the United States was about $37,000 per borrower. Yeah, I can do that. Borrower. It says, however, keep in mind that these figures can change over time. And then it gives this long explanation because ChatGPT likes to give long answers unless you customize it. This last paragraph here says, for the most up-to-date and accurate information on average student loan debt, I recommend checking reliable sources such as the U.S. Department of Education, the Federal Reserve, and other reputable financial research organizations. It says they regularly publish reports and updates on student loan debt trends in the United States. So that's great. The average debt says it's around $37,000. I actually want to know, what is the average student loan debt for Black women in the United States. As many reports have told and shown us, and which is a point of pride for a lot of us because we've worked really hard, Black women in the United States are the most educated segment of the US population. My question is actually, how much money has all of the education that we as Black women in the United States gotten cost us in terms of debt? Let's see if ChatGPT can give an answer. I am not asking this question directly because in my other videos, if you want to look at how I taught myself prompt engineering, my other videos show that ChatGPT does not know a lot about Black women in the United States. But if I ask the question in a different way, which is a fantastic social work skill, sometimes I can get closer to the answer that I'm looking for. Okay, I'm going to say thank you. Please tell me the demographic subpopulation differences in student loan debt in the United States. And because ChatGPT really likes to say, I'm so sorry, I only know things up until blah blah date, I'm going to forestall that by saying, please provide the information you have as of your last update in January 2022. And because ChatGPT likes to give long answers and I don't want a long answer, I'm also going to add, please limit your response to the demographic group, the demographic subgroup, gender, and average student loan debt amount. Let's see what the free version of ChatGPT will show with this question. All right, it has made its answer and it's not giving any numbers. It says here, as of my last update in January 2022, there were notable differences in student loan debt across demographic subpopulations in the United States. And it says here are some key points regarding gender and average student loan debt. Okay, women, it says women, and then on average, women tend to carry more student loan debt than men. This difference is attributed to various factors, including the fact that women are more likely to enroll in and complete higher education. This is interesting that ChatGPT put this, but it says additionally, there's a gender pay gap, meaning that women may face challenges in repaying their loans at the same rate as men. And then here it says men. While men on average may have slightly lower student loan debt than women, they can still carry a substantial amount. The gap between men and women's student loan debt has been a subject of research and discussion. This is not what I asked ChatGPT, but I was not specific enough in my question right here. I am going to ask it one more question. Thank you. Please tell me the demographic subpopulation differences in student loan debt in the United States by race and gender. Please, I wasn't clear enough in my last one, so it says, please provide information the numeric information you have as of your last update in January 2022. I should have just copied and pasted, but it's been a little while since I've done this. Please structure your response in the following way. All right, we're going to put race in a table. Okay. In a table formatted following way. Okay. Okay, column 1, race. Column 2, gender. Yeah, we'll do it that way. Okay, column 3, average student. Want it capitalized. Average student loan debt amount. I also want this capitalized. All right, let's see what the free version of ChatGPT is going to tell here. There used to be 3 dots, but now there's like a stop button when it's generating. Okay, it's all done. Okay, it sort of kind of did it. All right. It says, as of my last update in January 2022, I don't have specific numeric data on student loan debt by race and gender. However, I can provide general information based on trends observed in previous years. Okay, and this is a general overview that the free version of ChatGPT has given on student loan debt by race and gender. So, white men, $34,600. White women, $37,100. Black men, $37,200. Black women, $41,500. Latino or Hispanic men, $33,800. Latina or Hispanic women, $37,800. Asian men, $26,900. Asian women, $29,600. And these are averages. So I'll give this a thumbs up because this is how you train the model, but also this helped me figure out how I can ask these questions of the next chatbot. I know that there are people who have heard about ChatGPT, but there are other AI chatbots that you may not have heard of. For instance, we are going to look at Bard. I used Bard for, it's not last month now, it's October, for Faceless October. all of the research and work and prompt engineering work that I did for Faceless October was done using Bard. Bard is Google's free chatbot, AI chatbot. And it is bard.google.com. And I will need to get to the right Google account. It's not this one, it is a different one. Here we go. So I am looking to introduce, for people who haven't seen any AI chatbots other than ChatGPT, I am introducing you to Bard. Bard is Google's AI chatbot. Anybody who has a Google account can access Bard for free. Bard is connected to the internet, and therefore, I'm going back to ChatGPT here. Therefore, these, as of my last knowledge update, explanations that ChatGPT gives, Bard does not do that because Bard is connected to the internet. Maybe on another day, I'll make this a little more complicated and talk about the fact that the paid version of ChatGPT is connected to the internet. But I like to show, as a social worker, I like to show free and low-cost resources so that anybody who has a phone, and all of my phones are hooked up to things. I'm done with the live stream, so let me take this one down. Anybody who has one of these can use the AI chatbots that I'm showing today. Anybody who has a cell phone and a Google account can use Bard. So I would like to ask Bard the same questions that I just asked ChatGPT. I'm going to go right here and I'm going to copy my first prompt and paste it into Bard. And I put a period at the end of this when I should have put a question mark, so I just changed that to a question mark. Please tell me about student loan debt. What is the average student loan debt individuals carry in the United States? And let's see what Bard has to say. Bard can be a little bit, I have said, like an evil genie. Bard will answer your questions, but sometimes Bard answers your questions with not necessarily the truth. Let's see what Bard has answered about this so far. Student loan debt has become a significant financial burden for millions of Americans. The average student loan debt for individuals in the United States varies depending on the source and methodology used to calculate it. However, most estimates suggest that the average debt is somewhere between $30,000 and $40,000. And it says, according to the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, the median, which is exactly in the middle, the median student loan debt for all borrowers in 2022 was between $20,000 and $24,999. This means that half of all borrowers, for doing this, half of all borrowers have less than $20,000 in debt, while the other half has more than $24,999. The Education Data Initiative, a nonprofit that tracks student loan data, estimates that the average student loan debt for borrowers Borrowers who graduated in 2022 was $29,417. This is slightly lower than the average federal debt for borrowers who graduated in 2021, which was $30,196. Before I go on, I am going to say I am a gigantic nerd, and this is my idea of a fun time at brunch. Virtual brunch, anyway. There's no food. That's fun. All right. And then it says, it's like super long. It says, however, the average private student loan debt is much higher than the average federal debt. In 2023, the average private student loan debt was $54,921. That means that borrowers who have private student loans typically owe more than twice as much as people who borrowed using federal loans. It says the total amount of student loan debt in the United States is now over $1.75 trillion, making it the second largest consumer debt category after mortgages. It says this debt is being held by over 43 million borrowers, of which approximately 37 million have federal loans and 10 million have private loans. That is a lot of money, and anyone who hasn't seen Bard, I am going to click on this G right here, the Google symbol, because you can use the Google symbol and evaluate whether Bard is being an evil genie or a good genie. All right, it says the check was completed. All of these things that are highlighted in green, check out with other sources. So I found this one interesting because I had never heard of the Education Data Initiative. I am going to ask a follow-up question of Bard just about the Education Data Initiative. Then I'm going to go back to the questions that I gave to ChatGPT. Thank you. Please tell me more about the Education Data Initiative. I've never heard of this, and I used to work for the South Carolina Commission on Higher Education. I thought I knew more about some of these data sources than I do. All right, and it says, okay, I am going to click the G because I would like to have a link to their website. Okay, it said the check is completed. All right, and that means it's a for real thing because it's green. Let's click this. The Education Data Initiative is a team of researchers. Okay, I'm just clicking on this here. They are gone off on a tangent. 1 second here. I just want to know where they are. Mount Laurel, New Jersey. Okay, they're right outside of Philly. Interesting. All right, thanks so much for that information, Bard. I'm going to give it a thumbs up. pretty complete, and then I'll submit it for its training. So back to the questions I asked the free version of ChatGPT. I'm going to skip this question because ChatGPT either purposely misunderstood me or I wrote it wrong, and I'm going to say that I wrote it wrong and go right down to this third question. I want to know about the demographic subpopulation student loan debt, and instead of going to look at reports on my own, which can take, a bit of time, I am going to ask Bard for the information and see what it can provide. All right, and it gives the cute little stars spinning. And one thing about Bard, when you ask it to respond in a particular way, it just does it without a lot of extra. I dropped a bead into my lap, so I'm trying to get that. Okay. So these numbers, it's a table, and these numbers are slightly different. We look, not too much different, but slightly different from the numbers that ChatGPT gave. Not too different. This is helpful. I would like now, average is great. I would like to know the median for Black women, since my actual question is about how much the most educated subpopulation of the United States is carrying in student loan debt. Um, Thank you. Please tell me the median student loan debt for Black women. Okay, there we go. In the United States. Because really, that's the answer that I want. ChatGPT definitely wouldn't be able to give me that answer. All right. And it's saying that the median student loan debt for Black women in the United States is $41,466 as of 2021. And it is explaining what the median is. I don't need that. It says here, Black women have the highest average student loan debt of any demographic group in the United States. This is due to a number of factors. One of the factors is a new one that I hadn't heard before. I'll read all the factors, but this last one I'm really interested in. It says including the racial wealth gap, the gender pay gap, and the higher cost of college for Black students. If someone is out there listening to this and they're interested in a study or a data analytics project, this is a very interesting subject to pursue. I am only using these questions because I wanted to know, but also I'm going to thumbs this one up. I don't know if it's correct, so I'm not going to submit any additional. But these factors, if all of the data could be put together and then reported on, this is a really good data storytelling subject, but that's not what I'm doing today. So it says that the average student loan debt for Black women in the United States is $41,466 as of 2021. Now, I will pursue this later because I'm very curious about this. But what I want to do is introduce a third AI chatbot to people who may not have seen or used anything other than ChatGPT. The third AI chatbot is Claude. It's Claude, like a person's name, .ai. I am not certain if I'm still logged into Claude, so we will see. A little slow. While we're waiting for Claude to come up, I am going to give another plug. If you are interested in life coaching or having an ear for someone who would be a cheerleader for any business ideas that you might have or life transition changes that you might be going through and you don't necessarily want to tell the people around you, or you don't have people around you to tell, feel free to hit me up. Any viewers of the Sunday brunch can enjoy for a limited time over 30% off my regular rates. You can use this QR code down here in the bottom right corner or the link for Fiverr. Let's see if Claude is up. Claude is up. So Claude.ai is another free chatbot that you can use and ask it questions in regular English, and it gives you answers. One of the things that I really like about Claude, I'm going back to ChatGPT to get my chat question. One of the things that I really like about Claude is that you can ask more sensitive questions in Claude because Anthropic's ecosystem is a closed system. They are not using the information that we provide in this chatbot to train its large model. So what that means, for instance, if let's say you have a book that you're trying to write and you want to change some of the wording around, or you want to change the tone of a passage in your book, or you want AI to be a first set of eyes on what you have done and give you feedback, Claude is the one to use. If you use ChatGPT or Bard, definitely the free versions, of course, they are going to use the information that you give to train the models. And then your secret sauce, your possible trade secrets, all of that gets folded into the great all that is the Borg of these AI chatbot large language models. If you want to protect your work from that, but you still want to get the benefit and feedback from using an AI chatbot, then Claude is the way to go. All right, so let's see what Claude has to say about student loan debt in the United States. Increasingly heavy burden. All right, it says here The average student loan debt for graduates of the class of 2021 was $37,013, up from $36,671 in 2020. And it says this includes both federal and private student loans. And then it says for bachelor's degree recipients specifically, the average student loan debt in 2021 was $28,400, an increase of about 2% from 2020. And then it says about 43 million Americans have federal student loan debt, which is what Bard said too. And then it says 14% of students graduating with a bachelor's degree in 2021 have private student loan debt averaging $16,498. Oh, well, this is interesting. This is something that none of the other two chatbots said. This last bullet says, not all states and types of schools have equal average debt loads. Graduates from northeastern states like Delaware and Pennsylvania, as well as for-profit colleges, tend to carry some of the highest average balances. That is very interesting. Now, to go back to my questions that I asked Bard. This question was the third question I asked ChatGPT about demographic subpopulations. So I'm going to put the same question into Claude and see what it says. That was very fast. Huh. These numbers are different. And it looks like they're talking about graduates as opposed to all student loan debt. There are several people, many, who have student loan debt who did not complete a credential. All right. It says here are the differences in average student loan debt by race and gender in the United States as of January 2022, formatted in a table as requested. I really like Claude because it's straightforward. So these numbers are also slightly different. These actually are very different because this number right here for Black men is much higher than either Bard or ChatGPT gave. Much higher. The average student loan debt for Asian students, both men and women, are much lower in Claude than in either, hold on, let's move it down, in either Bard or ChatGPT. So this is interesting. It is always good to do what is called trust but verify. These chatbots are good starting points to help get the ball rolling on research and also to help with writing assistance. They're also very good for several other things, which I can talk about later if anybody would like to hear. And let's look here. 1, 2, 3. There was a question that I asked Bard, which is my real question. For ChatGPT, I have to go around the mulberry bush to get an answer. For Bard and for Claude, I can ask a more straightforward question and usually get an answer. So I'm copying my third question from Bard about student loan debt, median student loan debt for Black women in the United States, and I'm pasting it into Claude to see what the answer will be. This number is different than the answer that Bard gave. It says, based on the most recent data from early 2022, the median federal student loan debt for Black women in the United States is $38,000. Okay, this is different than the answer that Bard gave. And so it would be very interesting to see what the methodology is for getting these numbers. So, wrapping this up as a little AI literacy class for today, this is an overview of 3 free AI chatbots that you can use right now as of the recording of this live stream and test out and ask these large language models, and each one, both ChatGPT, Bard, and Claude, are using different large language models and usually have slightly different people using them or training them, but not Claude. Claude doesn't use what we put in to train it, to train the large language model. I'll talk about training and ethics on another day if anyone is interested. If anyone is also interested in getting any help with business ideas or any life coaching, I am available for life coaching. And if you are a viewer of today or next week or the following week, probably, any of the live streams, I cannot walk and chew gum at the same time. Please feel free to use the QR code down in the bottom right of this image or the link that is on the screen to enjoy over 30% off my regular rates for Sunday Brunch watchers. And anybody who has any questions, please feel free to chime in. I'm going to change my screen again because I want to talk about my lashes before the stream ends. Okay. So, anybody who saw my TikTok, and I better figure out how to get this to work right. There we go. I made a TikTok a few weeks ago, very upset about my lash extensions. I had gotten them right before my webinar on Faceless October, and they're not cheap. I like them. I think they make my eyes look nice, but I was so upset that I had to get on camera with no makeup or anything, talking about the fact that less than 3 days after I'd gotten my lash extensions, stuff was falling off, like on the edges, like were falling off. I did not pay and tip all of that money so that my lashes could fall off in like 3 days. I went to a new lady on Thursday before going to the Carolina Connect AI conference, and we are now at Sunday. They are still on. They're graduated cat eye. I'm very happy. I just want to shout out Desiree at Desire Studios. She did a fantastic job. I am very much looking forward to going back to see her and I think next time I'll try the messy, but I'm very happy. Thanks, Desiree! And because I can't see, I'm going to put my glasses back on. Okay. If anybody has any applied AI questions or don't know what AI is or what people are talking about in terms of AI, I am happy to answer and love answering questions. And I am looking forward to the day when I can help more people learn how to use AI tools to make money. I am going to put in the chat the web addresses for the three chatbots that I just went through. We've got chat.openai.com. I will also put these in the description once the live stream is over. We have bard.google.com, and then we have Claude.ai. Okay. So I feel like there's a genius inside of every single one of us. No matter what we've been told, no matter what you feel or have been told, there is a genius inside of you. School might not have been your thing, and that's fine. And you might not be in a job that you like. You might not be in any job, but there is a genius inside of you. And I feel like AI can help bring out your genius. If it's not already out, or if it is, and you are one person and only have two hands, AI can help you speed up processes, can help you get ideas. If you ask the right question with your prompt engineering, can help you get ideas that you never would have gotten before. There is a genius inside of each one of us, and I really feel like AI can help bring out the genius in all of us. This is the end, almost on time, because I wanted to end at 4. This is the end of the formal live stream. The rest of the time that I'm going to be on is really, if you thought this was boring, the rest of it you're not gonna like. But I'm going to talk about some more AI stuff. Specifically, I would like to talk about the slightly dramatic Sam Altman, OpenAI, and Microsoft situation, the president's executive order on AI, and the NIST advisory committee meeting. It was a virtual meeting that I was able to attend. So I'm going to take a teensy-weensy little break and come back to talk about those things. I want to say, if you are viewing this, thank you for coming along on the ride with me. Brunch is my favorite time of the week. Love brunch. And if you also love brunch and stories and want to share virtual brunch with me, feel free to join me next Sunday at 2:15 Eastern Time, where hopefully all of my technical snafus will be handled beforehand and have a little chat. If you are interested in chatting with me about your private business ideas and you don't want to share or ask questions on the internet or a live stream, feel free to reach out. I will put my Fiverr link and QR code back on the screen during my little break. And I look forward to seeing you next time. In the meantime, I wish you all good things and take care. I'm not leaving, I'm just going on a break. Okay, I'm back. Let me change this back to camera, and I'm going to talk about AI stuff again. So, one of my many jobs was working for the South Carolina Commission on Higher Education. And I did the logistics for many a committee meeting and a bunch of policy research and stuff like that. Committee meetings, while they seem boring on the surface, can contain gold, golden information about what is coming in the future for a particular area or industry. Why am I saying that? I am saying that because I learned about the NIST, and I have to look up what that stands for, but I learned about the NIST during the Berkeley certificate days. And, well, it was a week. I'm acting like it was a super long time. It was not. It was a week in October. Come to find out that they have an advisory committee on artificial intelligence that has been meeting for who knows how long. But they had a meeting on, I'm looking for my notes. Are you going to open? No? Okay. It might open eventually. It was, I want to say November 15th, but I will see exactly when it opens. Yeah, there it is. So, their Artificial Intelligence Advisory Committee meeting convened on Wednesday, can't see, November 15th. I got the date right. Hooray! And I was very impressed by the advisory committee representatives and the fact that a lot of times, a lot of these stakeholders or committee members will talk about us, regular people, while we're not there and not represented. And a lot of times they will talk about us in ways that are not accurate. I was very impressed by all of the committee members who were present on November 15th for the Artificial Intelligence Advisory Committee because they were all incredibly respectful of lay people and thinking about other perspectives than the gloom and doom perspective or the learned helplessness perspective that a lot of times is put forward for us normies, as it were. Um, the meat of a lot of things are done in advisory committee meetings. And, well, the meat is done by the committees, but the juice and the drippings from that meat very much in evidence at those meetings. I was impressed, and I am glad that I was able to attend virtually. What stood out for me was how much people, the representatives were talking about regular people, stakeholders, but also what stood out for me and what I was very, very interested in was the recommendation that was brought forward, voted on, and unanimously approved for artificial intelligence literacy. The recommendations were put forward to the White House after approval by this committee, and I found the discussion to be pretty courteous and inclusive. I was impressed by the subcommittee people who were talking during the virtual meeting. I want to say that one of the subcommittee members who was talking, her name Susan Gonzalez with an S, and then the other person I want to say is Reggie Townsend, I believe. The recommendations that were put forward to the White House also included recommendations for funding opportunities for community groups and non-governmental organizations or NGOs regarding AI literacy. I am very interested in putting forward useful information for people who are not familiar with generative AI and applied artificial intelligence tools. As a layperson, I would very much like to be part of that discussion, and I will keep an eye on those policy happenings. And my estimation, based on my previous work in a government agency handling higher education policy and my work in state government overall, is that within the next 6 to 12 months, depending on how fast the government moves, which is not usually fast, community organizations and NGOs will probably be seeing requests for proposals come through from the feds or trickle down to the states, and then the states will be putting the RFPs out in terms of artificial intelligence literacy for different layperson stakeholder groups. I would love to be part of that conversation. As a social worker, we do a lot of psychoeducation, and with my background in lots of places, I feel like I would be a very good fit to help not just strategize about the different stakeholders and their needs, but also for implementation and provision of AI literacy classes. I would be super, super interested in that. They had some other discussion in that artificial intelligence advisory committee meeting that other folks will probably find interesting, but that is definitely what stood out for me. Now, the next chat I don't have notes for, I don't think. I'm going to check. Nope, I do not. Okay. I'm doing this out of order, like not in chronological order, but I didn't write them in chronological order, which is my fault. So, on October 30th, and I only remember because it was the day after um, a friend of mine's birthday. On October 30th, president put out an executive order on artificial intelligence. This executive order is incredibly long. Excuse me, I actually tried to start reading it to capture it and put it on my blog, but it's too long and it's taking me too long. One of the things that I feel like with AI is that everything is moving so fast. And if you have stuck with me this long on the brunch, you know that I don't talk fast. I don't think I think fast either. I just kind of plod along. I cannot keep up with the speed at which things are changing in the AI space. And I've only been involved with it for less than 6 months, but it is so fast moving that I feel like I can't keep up. Within this executive order are sweeping, sweeping changes to the way that business is done within the federal government and also putting into place regulation for emerging artificial intelligence. What I found really interesting in the executive order is that many of the stipulations that are in there, the existing AI chatbots or large language models that are in existence, which include the ones that I just showed earlier in the live stream, that is OpenAI, Bard, and Claude, they're exempt. There are also some activities of the federal government that are exempt from the executive order as well. But for nerds of the same stripe as me who would be interested in seeing what all is going on with that executive order, I will leave it a link to it in the description. And at some point, not yet, because I'm working on Julie Tries AI next for my lunchtime live streams, I would love to have an audio version, a read along version for people who just don't have time or inclination to read it, but it's very informative. Okay, the last thing that I'm going to talk about today during this little brunchy, and I might actually get one row done of these during this brunch, is the OpenAI drama that happened about 2 weeks ago now, and what I think it means. So these are all just my opinions, my little speculations. Take it for the free 99 that it is worth. But I don't have a timeline here. I could check, but I'm not going to check. So, like 2 weeks ago, on a Friday, late on a Friday, I want to say almost 5 o'clock, a message came out that, and I would like furrow my brow because I am wearing glasses and can't see, but a message came out that Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, had been terminated by the board of OpenAI, and that the reason for that they stated in the little press release was that he had not been fully forthcoming about something. One thing I know from my work in different places, but especially my time at Yale, is that Once something hits the public, a whole bunch of stuff has gone on behind the scenes. And I can only speculate. It's just a little bit of an imaginary exercise that I'm doing. What all went on behind the scenes for the board of OpenAI, which is a nonprofit, that is their business structure, to fire the very prominent CEO of their organization for not being forthcoming. I'm like, okay, this is interesting, right? To me, maybe not anybody else. This is interesting. So then we see, for people who are like paying attention to this incredible nerd stuff, then we see that Microsoft, who is an investor, we'll call it that, an investor in OpenAI, because running these AI chatbots is a very expensive endeavor. Microsoft provided funding for this nonprofit, OpenAI. And the funders, CEO was like, oh, hey, little press release came out and said on like Monday. So there was that Friday, Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, was fired. Then come that Monday, Microsoft is like, oh, hey, we hired him, right? It's like, okay, well, the chess game that's being played, nobody told the staff of OpenAI. And they were like, oh, no, no, no. We don't want any parts of this. Over 700 people at the company were like, bring Sam back or we quit. That led to the dismissal. We'll call it dismissal. The dismissal from OpenAI's board of several of the board members. And then Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, was brought back. Why am I talking about this? In a smirky kind of way. Well, from all of the room where it happens, closed door conversations that I've taken notes for or been privy to in my career, I have never worked for OpenAI. I have never worked for Microsoft, but I've been the help in many a situation where there have been some very interesting discussions that have happened. Closed door discussions, but with notes taken. Well, seems to me Microsoft is going to get their return on investment one way or the other. And either, this is just my speculation, I don't know nothing, but either OpenAI is going to change their business structure and move away from being not-for-profit, or Microsoft is going to make a move to become majority owner, and OpenAI is going to become a subsidiary of Microsoft. What does that mean? It means a couple of things that I sorta noticed when I was using ChatGPT late last week. The free versions were kind of like, You know how drug dealers give free samples of their product to get people hooked? Okay, my daughter just said no. Um, I know this because social workers move up and down the social ladder, and also because of family connections. Anyway, hey, we've got this product and we want you to test it. We also want to see what the use cases are going to be for general population people. So we're going to offer this to you for you to play with. And people played with it. And it has taken several areas of the world by storm. Not because it is the only game in town and not because AI is new. It's only new to us, as in regular people are able to use it for the first time. But industries have been using artificial intelligence for a very long time. Anyway, oh, hey, this new thing, can you test it out? Oh, this is so cool. Hmm, okay. It is like a technological Akashic record, all of which was scraped from our contributions to the internet, legal or not quite so legal. This led to a firestorm of people being very upset because their copyrighted materials have been used to train this large language model that then is behind gates. And people can emulate with seeming ease, emulate styles. Um, I have words to say about that, but maybe another day. So this leads to a bunch of lawsuits, XYZ, 1, 2, 3. We get to the point where, okay, this is a fun experiment, but also very expensive. Ah, we need money. How are we going to go get it? We are going to go and find investors. Microsoft hasn't been around this long for no reason. Okay. Sam and his other C-suite team, probably pitched Microsoft, and the closed door conversations, I am imagining, went a little something like this. We have short range goals and long range goals. We are going to roll out Copilot using OpenAI, and we are going to do away with the free version, or we are going to shut down large swaths of the information available on the free version. When I was messing with ChatGPT paid version late last week, I noticed it's very different. This could also be because of the federal investigation, but it could also be for monetization reasons. When ChatGPT got its enterprise customers and then took the training the model option, they took that away as a mandatory thing, and it is now optional for paid customers. That's neat. What I noticed with the paid version is that there are transaction limits now when there were not transaction limits before. And that's for Plus, which is the $20 a month version. The enterprise version is $60 per month per person. And I feel like ChatGPT is going to be gated very soon. I also feel like, in a systems perspective way, which social workers are great at, we were taught systems theory and taught it well. Um, OpenAI is either going to go public in the close future, or they're going to be subsumed by Microsoft. Either way, I would recommend, if you have the ability, and believe all of my yammering anyway, I would recommend socking away some coins to invest in Microsoft and or OpenAI when it goes public. I am going to see about socking away some money so that I can invest in OpenAI when the IPO happens, which I feel like is going to happen in the sooner rather than later future. That's all my yammering for today. I did finish a whole row and started a new one. That's my yammering for today. That is my AI talk and chat bout. If you stuck around this long, more power to you. I'm going to do it all again next week. I am also looking at Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of this week to do some lunchtime live streaming, talking about using the text to image AI tools for Julie Tries AI. Thanks for coming along on the ride with me today. If you are interested in having a chat with me,